My name is Nicole Calvin, and I'm going to share with you today a little bit about my experience of tithing. And I really started tithing in college when I'd work in the summers and, give part of that back to God, but really consistently after I got my first real job out of school. And growing up, I heard a lot about tithing and some really neat stories, and had the example of seeing my parents and grandparents and see God do awesome things in their life. It seemed like a really natural thing, and in college it wasn't a huge deal because I was just earning a little bit of money and didn't have too many expenses. And at that point in my life, I'd experienced a lot of blessings already, but really it was because of my parents' faithfulness and them trusting God with their money. And I had been able to go to a private university for 4 years and have some amazing experiences and play soccer and travel around the country. And after all of that, it was all paid for, and I was debt-free at that point, and that was just an unbelievable gift that I had experienced in my life. And once I got my first job, it was really then my decision to make, and whether I was gonna follow that example and really trust God with my money and give back to Him what is really His anyways. And when I thought about it, I didn't have much to lose. I didn't really have anything at that time to begin with, and it was a smart time to start because that way I could give, back to the Lord and then give some to my savings and figure out how to spend the rest of it. So I began to lay out my budget of how much I was gonna earn versus how much I owed on the car that I just bought and the apartment that I was about to move into. And it was a little bit more difficult. It wasn't like such a flippant decision at that point when you see the numbers on paper. And I figured I would have enough to pay the bills and everything was gonna work out okay, but maybe not too much left over, maybe be kind of tight for a while. Plus I just earned my degree in math, and taking 10% off, your earnings right away and just subtracting that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense on paper. And when you tell people that, they're kind of like, you're a little crazy maybe. But that's where the faith part comes in, right? So that's why I think tithing is such a great thing. It's such a practical way to practice my faith. And if I just say that Christ is the center of my life and don't do any tangible thing to show that or reflect that, then it's really just words, and words without actions doesn't mean a whole lot. So now that I've been working and living on my own and tithing for about 2.5 years or so, I can't deny God's faithfulness in my own life and things that I've seen and how He's provided for all my needs. And I've learned that God's math skills are a lot better than my own, because He doesn't say, give me this certain percentage and I'll give you this return. There's no set equation, but He does have this awesome promise that He talks about in Malachi 3:10, and we actually just talked about this in Sunday school too, so that was pretty cool. It says, "Bring the full tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that you will not have room enough for it." And those are just really powerful words and such an awesome promise to hold on to. And I know in my own life, I know that God's always walking beside me, and everything I have belongs to Him anyways. And I would just encourage you guys too, if you're not tithing right now, to give it a shot and see what happens. You can really tell a lot about what's important to a person by looking at how they spend their money. And I try to hold myself accountable to that test in my own life. And as I was thinking about it, preparing for this, I was thinking about what recently I've spent my money on. And the first thing is definitely giving to the Lord each paycheck, and after that are some common bills. Or this month was particularly kind of expensive because my brother's getting married in the summer, and bridesmaids dresses are a big chunk of change, and I'm running the Boston Marathon, which is also a lot of money. And yes, you do have to pay to run for hours, so that's a little crazy. But first and foremost is the Lord, and I want to trust Him with that part of my life. And walk with him in that way. And as the verse talked about, he has definitely poured out blessings in my own life that I could never think of, or that I never would have imagined 2.5 years ago when I really started this journey. For example, I was just thinking of a list last night, and I've been able to get some side jobs tutoring math, which is something I enjoy to do and enjoy doing, and can earn some extra money that way. There's intangible things like having great friends around and people that I work with that I enjoy, and bosses that I get along with, which is a huge plus. And then there's part about money alone, and just seeing my salary increase about like 25% in the first 1.5 years that I worked, which was definitely unexpected. There's things with being able to go on a trip to Florida for an Alpha conference this year, which was an unbelievable opportunity, and it was super cheap because of people's generosity in providing scholarships for that. Recently I was able to move into a really great apartment and have a really great roommate, and it was very cheap, relatively speaking. And those are just the big things, and there's numerous small things that you see every day, just thinking about how I've never had to miss work because my car didn't start, or the day that I happened to get a flat tire, it happened in the Allstate parking lot where I work, so it was like not a huge deal. Or being able to run and play soccer and just do things that I enjoy and not be hurt or stuff like that. And the list really could go on with all the small things, so I won't bore you with that. But all of this really just to say that I know God has a plan for my life, and it's much bigger and much better than what I could imagine and what I really thought of, a few years ago. And it's just up to me to put him first and trust that he will guide me and take care of me. Thank you.